Are we ready? In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
My name's Whitney. I'm an ultra runner with Newton Running, Tiger's Eye, and I'm on the Firefly Pro team. And then I have my very good dear friend Loan Vo. She and we actually met at Broken Track Ultra. I just knew like from the first time we all met, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be really good friends. And it's cool because, we've been together for like years now, doing these races together. And like the last big one that we did together was the Bulldog Track Ultra. And that was so cool because both of us kind of like wiped the fields, two lead ladies taking first place in the 6 hour and the 12 hour ultra. So that was kind of huge. And we are about to actually do the Keys 100. So it's like Loan is doing the 100 miler and I'm doing the 50K. So I'll kind of open up the floor. Do you want to introduce yourself or just kind of give like a little background about you?
Yeah, no, thanks, Whitney. And it was definitely, I love going to the ultra races and meet like awesome people, like new friends, and, definitely, and like you, so awesome. Like we met, and then we come from a group, and it's like established, like forming that friendship, that bond. So, but yeah, no, definitely, I think started running ultra. Well, when I started, I didn't know what ultra was. I just go out and saw a race, and then they thought like I 2012, yeah. So I first started the very first one, but didn't really continue. That was like one, and like a couple years later, and I did here and there. And I think like up until last couple years, definitely when I kind of get down to Florida and then kind of really found a community, and I think that's what I kind of fall in love the most about is as well, we see like this awesome community. And then and then of course I already love the running, and so supportive, right? In every single race that we go to, we meet like awesome friends, like the time we met with you. And then it's like, even though we go out there, and then definitely we run, we work our hardest, but then we also like, so like cheering for each other, want to, one another to do our best out there, right? And it's like, in the ultra world, we'll like, give it all out on the race, and but yeah, definitely love it, love the community, love the ultra, love running, and then of course, with Justin's being so supportive, and then so that's definitely helpful as well. But yeah.
Right. I need a Justin application open. Like your flash. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, he's great. And it's funny you say that because like I think it was 2011. I did the Keys 100 relay, and that's how I got into ultra running. And then one year I just decided to like do the 50 miler solo, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no nutrition plan. I didn't even have a crew. Like the crew wasn't required back then, so I just showed up and like I died. I died. It's like the very first ultra listed on my ultra sign up. It's like all the way at the bottom, and it's like the worst stats. Like I just feel like it is pulling my percentage down. But like I learned a lot, and kind of like you, after that I was like, oh, I can do better. And I just kind of got the itch. Plus the people, like you just kind of like bond with them and connect, and it's really awesome. But that's funny, I didn't know you started in 2012, so we're kind of about the same time, which is neat. And Luann is also military background. I am as well. I'm a veteran. You're still doing reserves with Air
Yeah.
Force.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm still doing the reserve. Yeah. And probably a few more years. So we'll see how that goes. But definitely I love the aspect of that as well.
Mhm. And I think it's cool because like we're different, but like we can relate to one another on like so many different levels. And like you said, we're both very competitive, but like we're also like cheering the heck out of each other, like just wanting us to do the best. And like even though we may be head to head against each other, it's like we're both high-fiving, chatting it up, like, how are you doing? You know, checking in with each other. So that's a really cool like dynamic to have. Okay, so I guess we'll kind of dive into the keys. I'm really excited. Are we 5 weeks out? We're 5 weeks out, I think.
Yeah, I think, yes, I think so, because the
Yeah.
17th, yeah, we're 5 weeks out. Yep,
hmm
yep.
So I don't know about you. I'm kind of like hitting peak right now. I've got this weekend and next weekend, and then after that, I kind of like start to dial things back a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's coming up quick. So we've got the whole group going. You, me, your husband is crewing, and then do you have any other crew?
Yeah, no, so this time it'll just be Justin crewing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
that's awesome.
it'll be a little tough for him as he's still trying to crew and drive and everything else. But so
Yeah.
we're working out the plans and stuff. So but yeah,
Mhm.
it'll be just me and him this
Yeah,
time growing down.
that's awesome. And I have done it for mostly like just one other person, and it still works out really well. Like you just have to get a good system down like before you go out there, because things happen so fast, and we'll kind of like get into that. But let's kind of talk about like what the Keys 100 is. So essentially it's a point to point road race that takes place in the Florida Keys. Mid-May. It's freaking hot as hell. I think the hottest year I've ever experienced was like 150 degrees with like 80% humidity. And you're running mostly on the shoulder of the road, or if there's like a trail or a path, you do hop over to the trailer path. But the heat that just kind of like radiates off the road makes it about 10 degrees hotter. So you can only imagine like it's absolutely brutal. You know, kind of almost everything goes out the door. And there are three main races. There's the 100 miler, the 50 miler, and the 50K. I think all three of them now have relay options, so you can do that with a group if you'd like to. The 100 miler starts in Key Largo, the 50 miler starts in Marathon, and the 50K starts in Big Pine Key. So usually the weather, I mean, you can expect it to be hot and humid. There was one year where it actually rained for the first 15 miles, and that kind of made it like a big steam box. So just know that like anything is possible in Florida. Those rainstorms come and they're just in and out usually pretty quickly. So if that happens, you know, ride the wave. There are some very strict race rules. There were previously like I think there was a Ragnar that was permitted to do like the full Keys 100, but they weren't invited back to the Keys because they were violating the rules that were laid out. Now the Keys is like one road in, one road out, and usually it's like 1 to 2 lanes. And a lot of the small businesses will either permit you to use their facilities or not, or maybe they do if you buy something. So just make sure that you read through all the race rules. We'll kind of like dabble into some of the new stuff at the end of the session and open up the floor, see if anyone had questions on Instagram. Um, so that's kind of like the top, like bird's eye view of the race. So Loanna and I are going to talk about some specifics. I've got some questions that we're just going to kind of go through and we'll both answer so you can kind of get to know our different techniques. Also, we're doing two different races. So she's doing the 100 miler, I'm doing the 50K, and that might look a little different for someone doing both. So the first question is what specific training techniques do you use to prepare for these like unique weather conditions that you're gonna experience down here in the Keys?
So I'll take that first. So definitely for the key, and of course this is my first time running it, but knowing that how hot Florida is and how hot the key can be. Um, so definitely, and now training. Uh, I mean, I definitely I'll shift my training schedule to mostly in the afternoon as much as possible. It's a schedule permit to kind of get that heat running in the heat to get used to it, and definitely use probably increase the sauna time to get that heat and humidity and get the body used to it. So probably next couple week as we peek into the final training preparation for it. So that's like the increase the sauna times usage, and then definitely run in the most heated of the day as much possible. So for me, probably like trying to like mostly after work or so. Um, um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so that's I think that's going for the weather itself. I think that's is the two key things that I'm gonna change from my regular program.
Yeah, and I actually do the same. Like today, I had two back-to-back medium long runs, if that makes sense. So I did one last night at race pace and then one midday today in full sun, like exposure, straight road to try to like also mimic that mentality of just having that straight line because that can kind of get into your head. Like there's not really a change of scenery. You're just headed straight down the road. But yeah, also I think right now I'm trying to change something. I've been kind of testing out what I'm going to wear. Because typically I do shorts and a sports bra, but after speaking with our other very good friend, John, he usually wears like a sun shirt. So today I've been testing like dunking it in water, wearing it, seeing if I'm sweating enough for it to even make me cool or is it making me more hot? So, and it is funny because today I was like, I can't tell if I'm sweating enough to keep this thing wet, but realistically, every like 3 to 4 to 5 miles, I would have crew and we would be dunking the shirt again or putting water on it in some capacity. So, um, I definitely do the heat training and then also like testing out like everything you're going to do on race day, whether it's the same nutrition, what you had for breakfast and lunch. For the 50K specifically, because we start at noon, you have to like kind of practice having a breakfast and then also something around 11:30. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's kind of like the basics to having a successful race of the Keys is just changing it up and getting out midday.
Yeah, and then you
Um,
definitely right about like the clothing itself, right? Because especially for the 100, it's like because and probably like starting out, depend on the time to start, but in the heat of the day, and it was like many heat, like when I do like the Miami 100 or the emulations, right?
yeah.
Where it's
Mhm.
super high. I think that because the clothing itself, because your skin, if like if the skin exposures like to the sun is because I tested out both in it like if I just like expose my skin or have something cover, and it definitely have something cover, and especially like if it's wet, it's like kind of like cool down your skin a little, cool down you
Mhm.
keep your skin cool, right? And that help with like the regulate your body temperatures a little bit too. But the clothing, so the clothing definitely like a big piece of it, and since like for definitely for the 100, because like since the race is kind of so long, all right, and then
Yeah.
especially when you start in the morning, but then the when you hit like the highest temperature of the day is when you actually your body is actually like tired as well. So I
Mhm.
think that's the critical things is like is kind of keep your body temperature, like regulate your body temperature normal and not let it spike, right? And so I think that's
Yeah.
between, so for me definitely like definitely cover. I mean, like I still haven't decided exactly because I usually have a shirt that I usually wear, but I think I
Yeah.
might change a little bit on this one to kind of like have a little bit more moisture, like wet it a little bit more, keep it longer, and then ice, right, or like
Yeah.
the cooling rack to keep you
Mhm.
cool. Hmm.
Yeah, and actually that's a really good point because in the 100 miler, I feel like during that heat exposure when you have the worst segment of the day, there's a point where, from what I've learned from previous years, is if your heart rate spikes to a certain point or gets to a certain level, it's very difficult to get it back down just because of the heat.
Yep.
And it's so intense down there. So you really have to kind of like teach yourself to like hit that threshold and then bring it back. Hit that threshold, bring it back. But for the 100 milers, you may be able to, if you are dialing back a little bit in the heat of the day, which is a great strategy, a lot of work can be made up once the sun goes down. And so I think that's like another really important thing to point out.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So, can you tell me like a little more about like your preferred nutrition and hydration plan for the race?
So yeah, so prefer. I mean, like the just the regular like any like definitely eat
Mhm.
before. So and but during because I'm very Pacific. It's kind of I use electrolyte throughout. So I like
Mhm.
very light. I mix my electrolyte very lightly, but I drink that throughout, and it's up until a certain point when my body kind of get a little bit tired of like too much that sweet and taste. Then I switch to water, but mostly the
Mhm.
electric because your body need it so much, and
Yes.
and especially in the heat ray, so the sodium intakes, like the so definitely LMNT have to regulate, take it in to replace that sodium that you lose. But regular, especially during the long one, then my nutrition plan on any race is usually every because you typically you burn about it's like 250 300 something depend on the body weight and everything calorie per hour, so you want to take that in. So I definitely for nutrition itself and make sure I eat enough calorie every at least every 45 minutes to an hour,
Mhm.
right? In addition to like the hydration itself, and that's will go throughout. But of course your body change throughout the rate because it's so long. So I start out with solid food first because that's when my body can take it, and then
Yes.
as it gradually, and then my body will eventually don't want to take any more like solid food, so I change to like kind of like liquid food, and then liquid calorie to keep you going. But at least well, for me always I try to get as much as like a solid food in at the beginning
Yeah.
as I can, and then and then have the liquid calorie of food later on into the race. But yeah, every 45 minute to an hour, and then maybe the time
Mhm.
shorten as as you go out, and then it's always like it's good idea always because I always watch my body what kind of like what I crave for or what I feel like. Because sometimes like
Yeah.
you take the electrolyte and just feel like it's way too sweet, and then you're like that means like I need the sodium, so I take the sodiums either like pickle juice or LMNT or something a little bit like broth or something that a little salt to get put it back because your body need it. So that's kind of like mindful of keeping your body of what is kind of telling you. So that's helpful as well. But have like having the plan because so that your crew can kind of prep you for it too does um does help you for successful.
Yeah, and I think I gave you like one of my old ones. So this one's actually from 2022. But it's interesting because like, this is basically provided by the race, so you'll get this at packet pickup, and it says like the points where you can stop, and some of the distances between them are anywhere from like 2 miles to 7 miles
Yep.
to 6, 3. So you kind of also have to plan your nutrition like ahead or maybe later. So it gets a little tricky. And it's funny if you look on here, you can see like we've got our notes of like what I took and what I ate at certain times. I think this was Brandon's year. This was the really hot year. Yeah. And so definitely the nutrition and like having solids is like fundamental for the 100, especially in that heat because you are burning so many additional calories, and the salt, like there is like a fine line of like too much of anything and too little of anything, and it's like finding that happy medium. And typically it is interesting because the Florida heat is very humid and you sweat a lot, so you can kind of tell what's going on, whereas like if you're in Arizona, your sweat kind of evaporates, so you have no idea really what's going on. How much am I perspiring? How much salt do I need to take? And I've really messed myself up taking as much salt as I thought I needed for a Florida race versus Arizona. So, but just something to keep in mind. I have some stuff here. I think I'm going to use probably like salt stick. This has saved me. I did have like a really bad cramp one year that just, I don't know, I fell on the ground. It took me out like 2 seconds and I knew I had to get salt. But what's nice is like if you need something, you can maybe carry your phone on you, text your crew, hey, I need salt, and they'll have it ready. Or if you see them, hey, next time, 3 miles from now, give me salt tablets. And then I also have, I don't know if you've tried this brand, but Mortal Hydration. They're the new sponsors of Ironman, but they've got like 10 carbs per packet. So I'll probably do this. And the 50K is a little different from the 100 because it's not nearly as long. And I kind of do my first 15 miles with gels and like liquid carbs. And then I switch to oranges, potatoes, Coca-Cola because I start to get nauseous because my pace is a little quicker, you know? So it is funny hearing those two differences. But yeah, it's very important, the nutrition here, because you're going to burn up the calories really fast. Um, Okay, so tell me, how are you mentally preparing for something like the Keys 100? What are like some techniques you use to keep moving forward in the heat?
Yeah, so either in the key like 100 race in general, and then different 100 in different level is when you get to a certain point is it's very mentally exhausted, especially when it's the weather, the challenge in itself that you push your body for so many hours, and it's kind of like you tired, not just like you physically but you mentally too. So usually I have the is different mind state that people that can prep and go into it is kind of like for me it's kind of like the first one is kind of goal setting, right? So it's like, hey,
Hmm.
have your goal there. So it always have and of course different, and I have like different goals in there to see that it's kind of help keep you reminded you of, hey, you, if you want it, you wanted this, right? So you
Yeah.
kind of push yourself to it. But then there's also kind of like in because sometimes you had come to go to a dark place in like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when you're so exhausted, right? So cause like um mm, the maintain the focus of it is, I think it's big for me. It's like a focus on the race, focus on, hey, it go into, hey, from one point, just, hey, make to the next. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you have like first it's like the goal that, hey, you want to reach, of course you want to finish it, and you want to finish a certain time or however, right? But during the race sometimes it's like like it's 100, it's still like 100 or 90 or 80 or whichever the mile is. It's like sometimes it seems far away, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
you focus on the next. I was like, okay, get to the next checkpoint, right? Get to next
Mhm.
a crew like 2 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile. Just get into the next point, eat some stuff, refresh yourself, and then keep going, right? Keep going.
Yeah.
But and then there's a thing that's like kind of like I learned of like preset your mind kind of thing, because certain things is because like sometime in there and you tired and you exhausted and you're like the only thing you want to do is just sit down, curl in the ball, and sleep. Yeah, and but in certain situations like that, right? And you kind of present. You're like, okay, you're gonna encounter those situations because you're gonna get
Yeah.
tired.
Absolutely.
Then you're like, no, you gotta keep going, right? So kind of like, no, it's like, okay, when you get to there, remind yourself, okay, keep going, like and you plan your sleep and you plan your rest in there. But when you're tired and you don't want to go, so and it's like, okay, no, you can't quit, you got to keep going, because you train for it, or something that that you kind of, into kind of like a positive self-talk, right? So that's
Hmm.
kind of like ingrain your mind, like, all right, so that when you encounter that situation, um you can, like I say, I fall back on it. And hopefully
Hmm.
remind me to keep you going. And that helped me for a couple occasions. And it's all like learning piece, right? Because I go into the race, it's like, all right, you can't quit. It's like, oh, you're not quitting, you're tired, you're not quitting, you gotta finish this. So it doesn't matter how it is, like you're gonna like one step in front of another, and then you're gonna
Hmm.
finish the race. So and then let's go into it. And so when you're tired, it's like, okay, can't quit, I can't quit. I gotta reach the finish line. So just like one step in front of another. It will get better. It will get better. Eat some food and you get better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have the same like mantra, I guess you could say, like, because when I get to that point where I'm like really struggling, I just keep saying I repeat like a word or like a little something. I just say bite sized pieces, like focus on, okay, you just got to get to the next 3 miler and your crew will be there. Or like fresh oranges await you, you know, like, or yeah, or either, like I've been in such a like struggle when I had the really bad altitude sickness and then I raced like a sub 5 hour fast 50K, which was crazy. Like all I could literally tell myself was legs, legs, legs. And I was just telling myself to pick up my legs, pick up my legs. And that's honestly what got me through the race. So sometimes it like depends how bad I'm struggling on what type of way I'm talking to myself, whether it's just like basic activity or like I'm trying to convince myself or like bargain with myself. Okay, like if I get to this palm tree, I'm gonna walk for 10 seconds, get my heart rate down, and then continue. So it's yeah, just like all a big bargain for me.
Yeah, no,
So
no, for sure, for
yeah,
sure. It's like, hey, if you get there, you get to eat this. Yeah,
yes,
definitely. I think
yes.
that's like kind of like one, like you say, like go said, like one step at a time. Like one, like hey, one go, like just get there, and then you get
Yep.
another one, and you get another one, right? So because sometimes it's like 3 miles sounds so much better than you still have 50 mile left. It's like
Hmm.
3 miles your
Yeah,
next point, and then 3 more miles. I'm like,
it's
yeah.
almost like girl math, you know, where it's like, okay, I'm looking at this 3 mile thing as one segment, so it's actually just 1 mile. Like I'm gonna convince myself that it's actually only 1 mile, but like, yeah. So, I'm curious to know, like, what are some key aspects of the course that you think are going to be critical for runners to consider when they're developing like their race strategy?
So yes, well, like I not known the course that much, but just reading about it, and then of course and then talking to you and everything else. I think the was like the 7 mile bridge. I think that's kind of
Mhm.
like I think that's
Yes.
really critical because you really and I think that's gonna be later on into the race as well, right? So when you
Yeah.
tire, so I think I think that's a biggest you probably struggle that you have to plan enough water and how to stay cool to get through that when you are tired, and it depend on how the heat is this year, but I bet it's gonna be hot.
I'm
So
like, please, can we get one good year where it's like not so bad?
yeah, so I was reading through like the list of hey where's the stop and how far each
Mhm.
from one stop for where your crew can stop to another. I think that was like
Yeah.
the pop out the most is a 7 mile. So that's kind
Yeah.
of like how you plan. Cause like I think uh you stop there, and then they definitely have to get yourself refill, eat. Um, and get as much water as possible. Get some, especially for 100 miler, get some ice in there. Make sure your body is like at a good temperature, and then and so you can tackle that thing because your crew can't be there until you
Yeah.
get to the
Yeah.
alternate side. So yeah.
That's a very good point because one of the major rules, and again with the keys, like you are not permitted to stop traffic. And while you're on the 7 mile bridge, like you cannot receive any type of aid. Because in order for that to even happen, like you'd have to back up the entire bridge, which it's a highway and it's extremely dangerous, right? Like not only for the cars, but also the runners. Um, and I think like from what I've experienced doing the relay, because I was always the person who got assigned the 7 mile bridge, or during my 50 miler, I also did it solo. Take more than you think you need. And 1,000%, I have always used like to the drop. And sometimes you'll come across someone who didn't take more than they needed and they need help because, I mean, honestly, like you guys are out there together and if something happens to that person, there's no way for them to get help on that bridge because you're on probably like a 2.5 foot shoulder of a highway that's on a bridge. You've got the water and then like semi trucks blowing by on the other side. So it's pretty dangerous. So I think part of like, just if you can get past the bridge, like, before the sun starts to go down, that's also gonna be beneficial because, once the sun starts to go low, you're gonna have all these cars with their lights on, shining in your face, blowing by you, and I feel like every year that I've driven by and I've seen people running that bridge in the dark, like, I can only imagine how disorienting and, like, dizzying that can kinda, like, make you feel. So if you can make it past the bridge before the sun starts to go down, I think that's gonna be really beneficial. But yeah, definitely the 7 Mile Bridge is a huge point, for nutrition, ice, and water. Again, take a lot more than you think you need because 'cause you're gonna use it all.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point. So your way of telling me I better run and get to the 7 Mile Bridge before, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and you know
absolutely.
what? I saw Matt Clapper and John, they had just gotten over the bridge with their night gear, and I don't think it was technically sunset. Like, I think they were about to hit it and they put the night gear on before they hit that time. Because I think 7:30, is it 7:30 is defined as night gear time and you have to have it on prior to 7:30. There are race marshals that go around and if they see you without that on, you could get disqualified. Um, that's actually another very good point to make. The Keys 100 is very much like a team effort between the runner and the crew because there are so many rules that the driver and the crew and the pacers have to follow that if they don't, you can get your runner disqualified. So you have to be very careful and like come up with a plan, make sure you're reviewing those race rules and getting everything down. Um, one other good thing to note about the course itself is there are so many bridges because you're kind of like island hopping, right? And um, every bridge you go over, it does kind of open up a little bit. For the most part, it kind of lets some air come through. Most of the race is vegetation on both sides, so you have kind of like that stuffy heat factor. But if you're struggling and you need a break, it's in my mind better to push through that suffocating section and get to the next bridge and take your walk break there so you can have a little bit of an airflow and cool your body down. So just something that else that I've learned over the years.
That's it
Um,
is an excellent point. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know there's a multiple bridge there. So yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, it's tough because like, you know, in the 100 miler, you guys start in the morning, so you have a good advantage of having some cooler weather before things heat up pretty intensely. The 50K starts at noon, and the 50 miler at 10 o'clock. So, um, the 50 miler, you can get a little bit of shade, but then you're on the 7 Mile Bridge. The 50K, you maybe have maximum 30 minutes if you're running on the far left side of the sidewalk to get the last little nuggets of shade that you possibly can. So, yeah, it's full on sun and it's just absolutely brutal, even though it's a flat course. Um, okay, so tell me about, let's talk about gear. Uh,
Yeah.
are you going to be wearing your tiger's eye bra?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I
Yeah.
I wear the my tiger eyebrow every single race this year since I got it. So
Oh,
so
that's
this
so
yeah, so that will be my fifth yeah, this will be my fifth race this year. And then yeah, definitely wear it. I just need to decide which color I want to wear it now.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
And then so yeah, definitely my my tiger eye bra, and 'cause it's nice 'cause it's like the this year is like the least chafing I have like my entire time, and it was like super nice. So I tested out like a bootlegger. I tested out like another short beside the one that I usually wear. Oh, that was a no go.
oh,
Yeah, so I was trying to see, how it is. I was like, all right, because bootlegger was my gear testing kind of thing. So yeah, so I'm like, ooh, this is not gonna go. So definitely my regular short, my flip belt short that I've been wearing. So
yeah.
yeah, so that one. And then yeah, the shoe that I wear, so it'll be Hoka Cilios, the one pair that I've been wearing. So not change that. Um, I'm still trying to decide which shirt I'm gonna wear.
Okay.
Definitely, like I haven't decided if I actually want to wear like a long sleeve shirt or like a short sleeve shirt with like the sleeve to cover my arms. But I'll be also testing like some products from Toe Trails. So they have like some yes some body fluid, and then I guess like there's the neck ice things. So I still gonna have to put that on the next couple weeks training, so to test it out. So I'll be definitely using that during the race. And then let me see. Oh, vest. So as much as I don't like to wear a vest, but I did bootlegger. I wore the vest the entire time. So definitely, I'm prepping for definitely the 7 mile bridge. I'll put the vest on to get more water, to carry more water than might be beside my two bottles that I usually wear when you see me. So yeah, so definitely a vest. I'm still trying to decide like if I want to wear it at some part during the race, well maybe before and stuff. Just
Yeah.
that I don't, like, additional weight. I don't like it. But then I was like, it's depending on how much stop that I need to stop and to kind of ease out, just and have to make multiple. So I'm still trying to decide that as well. So, but the 7 mile bridge definitely, I'll put on the vest, and then and oh yeah, definitely hat, right? I probably start out with the regular hat, but I probably gonna wear like my I discovered I really like this big hat that's covering my face, so it keep my face shaded. So I'm probably like trying to. I'm gonna wear that and hopefully running through the 7 mile bridge doesn't blow my hat off. So we'll see.
It's like the bad water hat, right? The one with like the one that you were wearing. Um,
So, oh, the one that I wear on the 48 hour, and when you saw me, yeah. So it's have like cover
okay.
all the way around. But it's really funny because like that hat, we actually originally got it for Justin. So because he crew and he doesn't like the heat. And then done in backyard ultra, because I was oh yeah, I was wearing this hat, and then also I forgot how it lead to it. And he's like, maybe you try this hat, and I put it on. I'm like, ooh, I kind of like this. I've been wearing it, so I wear it in 48 hours. I didn't need it. I didn't need it in bootlegger because it's very shaded. But yeah, I brought it,
Yeah.
so I think I'm gonna wear that in the key as well. So
Yeah, the hats are like really critical too because like you can dunk them in the ice, put it back on your head. Also, like I've gotten so burned before when I didn't wear a hat, like in my part on my head. Ooh, it was terrible. When you check in, if you don't have like an ice bandana or you forget one thing about the keys is like if you forget something, there really aren't, there are no running stores down there. So the expo where you pick up your packet, that's like really your only opportunity to get something you might be missing. So like double, quadruple, triple check your gear before you leave and make sure you have everything because stuff does run out pretty quick. But worst case scenario, you get these like buffs and you can like pack these with ice and like wear it around your neck or like on your head or something. Um, I don't know. I'm bringing like two things. I also have this ice bandana that I might wear. Definitely my tiger's eye bra and then some shorts with pockets. They're just like generic Amazon ones. And then I'm doing these again because these worked so well for me last year. They're the CF1, the carbons from Newton Running and Trail Toes. I'm so glad you mentioned that company because do you remember Long Haul 100 with like the knee deep water and all that mud and everything? Okay, so I was slathering on Trail Toes all over my feet and I didn't get one blister. No lost toenails, nothing. So I also am bringing Trail Toes because in the Keys you're putting so much ice on your body and it's constantly melting and because of the humidity, that liquid doesn't dry up. It just continually goes to your socks and your feet. So without some kind of like lubrication or like something to dry up your feet, like they're just gonna get wrecked. And I have seen like the worst, the worst blood blisters from people not taking care of their feet. So like that's a huge deal. So Trail Toes, yes, I highly recommend that company as well. Um, okay, have you noticed, next question, any mistakes that like ultra runners make during hot races and like how can they avoid those mistakes?
so what I've seen is, especially during the hot races, is if you underestimate the heat. right? To begin with, right? And then if you don't manage, if you don't, I would say, if you don't take steps to control, to bring your body down, and then your body can get overheat quickly, and it's
Yes.
hard, and then your race is, because could unfortunately sometimes could be over for some people. Because when you're, yeah, because your body already working hard, right? So, and then sometime, even if like 7 8 whatever, and to depend on how you guys like know how your body react to it, because the heat can be very brutal. Like if you don't cool your body down, if you don't, wear a hat to keep it, keep it shade, put ice on yourself, um then that's really put the additional stress on your body, and then that could, that when your body get up to high temperature is s- extremely high, harder to get down. So that first, and then I think the second thing is like the balance you need in nutrition, and I think that's it, because you lose so much sodiums through the sweat on nutrition. So I definitely don't underestimate, the
Yeah.
amount of electrolyte and sodium that you're gonna need, and then be careful, because you don't want to overload it as well and taking too much of it. So
Hmm.
there's the balance of like, the sweat rate that you sweat in, and then the intake, but um but every race is a little bit different, right? And then every race we learn something new about ourselves and stuff. So, and then for me only, it's like I was like trying to listen to your body of how, what it's telling you, as well. It's like I always have a plan of like when I take my like certain like my salt tablet, or sodium intake, right? So like very, a certain hour, I'm saying, okay, based on my previous experience, that is what my body, because everybody is a little bit different, but like my body
Yeah.
would need. But then also during the race, you gotta make adjustment from it, because sometimes your body need it more than you realize, or need it less. So you just gotta pay attention. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like the nutrition itself. You gotta keep up with it, because you don't let your body go thirsty or hungry, and then
Hmm.
balance out the electrolytes, the sodiums, that the intake, and then also the heat. Just manage the heat, and
Yeah.
don't estimate it. Just get keep your body cool, um, early, and continue to
Hmm.
keep it cool as well, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
but one thing I do excited about this one, because I haven't used it for tiger eyebrow, because how like we have chest eyes. So I think like the
Hmm.
way they designed it, I think I'm really excited. It's like it doesn't, like you put like the eyes in, it doesn't like go straight to like your skin. It has like this little
Yes.
protection. So I'm excited to test it out. So yep.
Absolutely. I do the same thing, and I'm so glad you mentioned that with the heat because, like, they talk about it at the Keys and it happens every year, so they've said, and, people kind of consider my body's so hot, I need more water. That's not always the case. You can actually overhydrate yourself and send your body to the emergency room because I forget what it's called. It's like, do you know what the term is? I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
slip my head, but you absolutely right.
yeah,
I
it's like the opposite of hydrating. It's like
Right, right. It's
you
just like you overhydrate, and
Mhm.
I definitely had that personal experience last May when I did ankle biter. 'Cause it's just so hot, right? So,
Yes.
and the beginning of May, because your body hasn't adapted to the heat yet, because you go from
Mhm.
kind of semi Florida winter going into it.
Yes.
But it's extremely hot last year, and I definitely like when I get to, and I feel like I'm like I need water. And then I like just chuck about water. And then that's like the most like I've throw up so much during that race. It's like, and I knew at some point, I'm like, I'm definitely overhydrating. But I feel like that thirst of like, I need to take water. But my body did not need
Mhm.
water. My body was like have plenty of water. 'Cause it's like it's rejecting it. So yeah, so
Yeah.
you hit the right point. Yeah, it's just to be careful. Like that's the balance of it, right? Taking up water and taking too much water as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was painful to finish that race.
God. I can't imagine you finished. Like, that's so incredible. Like, I mean, it is tricky. Like, just constantly think about cooling your body down. And like some of the key points of where you can cool your body down the best is your chest, your head, and your underarms. If you're starting to feel like you're overheating, a trick that I like to do, like, let's just say this is a washcloth. I like to run it underwater, get it wet, and then I kind of do like one of these little like rolls. I actually think you can see it in one of my recent posts on Instagram, and I have it right here. And I freeze them in the freezer. So they're like blocks of ice. And then as they start to melt, I take the towel as it unfolds and start like wiping my body with the frozen towel to kind of get that evaporation effect, keep my body cool. I use the little Ziploc baggies of ice. I put them here and I dunk my hat in ice. Um, Another good point is the water as it melts. Like, let's say you have a bag of ice like on your chest, on your back. Don't waste the liquid. You can still use it. So after it melts and it's become warm within like 2 miles, which is crazy because it happens like that. Like, I think like a mile, it's already like melted. I open the bag and I kind of like put it like this and I kind of sprinkle that water over my body. So like by the time I get back to my crew, that Ziploc bag is it's empty. I've dumped it on myself or used whatever was remaining in there. Also, if you run out of water, you can use ice chips from the Ziploc bag, which I know you have done before. I've done before.
Yep.
I Funny story. I think I might have told you this before, but it was at the Keys 100. I think when I was doing the 50 miler on my own. Oh, no, no, no. I had crew because they missed the stop. And it was like an 8 mile segment. I had run out of everything. And I just see this guy at a gas station with his like trunk open. This is so gross. He must have been like fishing or something. I have no idea, but he had a cooler. And I was like, ooh. So I go up to this stranger that I don't even know. And I'm like, sir, I'm so sorry. Would you mind if I had like a little bit of ice from your cooler? And he hands me like this block. It was solid ice, not like cubes. And I'm running down the street licking this block of ice, rubbing it on my body, licking the block of ice. It's so disgusting, but like I was full on survival mode. And I think like in my brain, I'm like, I just got to keep moving because the longer I take to get to my crew, the longer I'm in the heat, exposed and not getting what I need. So dirty ice block it was. So
But you get
nasty.
through, right? Sometimes it's like a kind of desperate measure, right? And then I had this same thing, like tell you, like then not not as I guess like not as bad as your story, but like backyard ultra on the second day. So and then of course I completely forgot to take my water, and of course my crew there, but I already started a loop, so I can't receive any A. So I was like, 4+ mile, like I don't have any water with me, but lucky enough I have like a bag of ice and a bag of grapes, and that was the I'm like, and of course like yeah, within like 30 minutes, I was like it was like first I was sucking on the ice, I was like saving it, trying to just like keep my body semi hydrate, and then the next like 30 minutes was just like water. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to save this water because this is not gonna get me. So I was like a little sip. At like half a mile, you get like one sip. Another half mile, you get another sip. So yeah, the,
It's like you have to ration things and like I don't know, sometimes like everything in an ultra goes out the window and you see some like really crazy weird things going on. That's when you really hope like your Ziploc bag doesn't have a hole in it
oh yeah,
or Oh. Actually, that's another good thing. I've also started double bagging my Ziploc baggies. I found that that kind of helps because sometimes like they come undone and they pop, and now you've got just liquid running down into your socks like more than you want. So,
yeah. Okay, that's a
uh,
good idea. Yeah. Because definitely
Yeah,
I have water flipping out all over the place from my backs before. So, yeah.
God, that's the worst. Well, can you tell me like an experience that you've had, maybe like in a past race or just through training that like significantly shaped your approach to ultra running? It could be anything.
Yeah. So, I think like the in the past rate, I think I was like probably like my first, I'll say officially my second, but my first one in the state, my first 100, I guess my first 100 miler. That kind of set me a path of like, really um really like and to the ultra running itself is because I didn't really of course didn't really know the ultra thing is. I just signed up for this, go. And I remember like it's like I was sail crew, so I parked my car. It was like a 24 hours, and then I was like so sore. It's not just the leg, but I'm like my entire body is just like so painful. And I couldn't like. I remember I was like, all right, just trying to make to 50 mile, and then you can take a nap. All right, so I made it to 50 mile, and then I took a nap. But then after the nap, I was barely can get out of the car because your body was all stiff. So I was like, get out of the car, and I'm like, I can't even take a step. But I'm like, all right, just step moving. But through that process, and then like one step in front of another, and then I was be able to jog. I remember like getting to like from my car to that gate, and like I was like all I could do is like one like very slowly dragging myself, and then but then
Oh my
and
God.
it just like after one another. But then I'm like, and I actually like made 100 mile in that 24 hours, right? Unknowingly, because I go in there, I was like, I'm just trying to run as much as I can, right? But it was surprising. But I'm like, hi, because like when your body can push like can go like really far, much farther than I ever could imagine that I put myself into, right? Because I never imagined I could go that distance by any means. And going to the race was not the goal. Definitely, that was like, ooh, that was like really far. Definitely, I'm not gonna be able to reach out or anything. It's like never dream of it either. But until like I reached out, I'm like, and it just kind of setting off like the your body can go really far, right? And it just kind of like your mind, and then how much you can push beyond itself, even when you think that you like, oh my god, I'm like so tired. You can go a
Mhm.
lot further. It's just you gotta have set your mind up to push it. So and that, so I think that was the one that I was like always think back. I was like, I can go a lot more. It's just like just focus and just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, ultra running is one of those sports where it's like, I feel like it's relative also to like your training. Like, I remember a day where I thought a half marathon sounded like a lot, you know? And now it's like, I'm like, okay, we've done 100 milers. So, like, what's next, you know? And people look at running 100 miles as something that's like absolutely crazy. Or they're like, oh, yeah, that's like, I'm chump change. I'm on to 200, 300, you know? So it's kind of like, as the time goes on, when you're in the sport, you kind of do build your endurance over the years to where it does become a lot easier. And I just feel like when you keep making these increments, you're kind of essentially doing mostly the same regimen. You're just kind of adjusting a few things. So it's all possible. And I think that's what's so cool about the running world is like whatever you think you can do, you can.
Yeah.
And if you're, yeah, it's like a totally a mental game. Like, and if you're saying to yourself, I can't do it, then you're not going to. Like you just got to get in your head that it is possible because it 1000%
Yeah.
totally is.
And
Hmm.
you absolutely right? And it's like it's the thing of like pushing. I think another aspects of like is like pushing your limit, testing your limit, right? Your
Hmm.
strengths. It's like where is it? Uh, and where to the each individual race separately, but it's like you test it each time. It's like how much longer can you go, right? And then you can see
Yeah,
like that it's building up and how strong your body build over time. And that's it's just like it's really amazing, to see, right? And then
it
then
is.
definitely when you see like a certain distance, you get into like 50K. It's like, oh, can I do 50 mile and 50 mile? Oh, can I do 100K, right? And then, oh, maybe 100 miles, or maybe longer than that, right? Yeah, so it's like kind of like testing the human, the human spirit, really, like, because that's like take a lot, not just like the physical part of it, but the spirit itself, like, you want it, to achieve it. So yeah.
That's so true. Well, I know we're at 8 o'clock. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I'm just going to touch on some of the like new race rules that are out for people who maybe done it previous years or you're new. These are changes that are there for a reason, safety wise. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to see what people put on Instagram if they had some questions. And then we'll go through those, see if we might have answered some of them already. So uh, first things first, there is a new daytime requirement. We kind of went back and forth in our group chat because I personally was a little confused, but we did get the clear answer as to what is required. So daytime, nighttime, all runners are required, racers are required to wear a race provided sash, I guess you could call it. It'll probably look something like this. It has 360 degrees reflective wear, blinking lights on the front and the back. So I'm assuming this is what we will get. Um, Obviously, during the daytime, the lights are not required. At nighttime, it has to be flashing front and back. And you'll probably also want a headlamp if you're going into the nighttime. Pacers, they can wear something like this. It's also a very similar sash. You can I actually buy this. I bought this last year for my crew. Um, we didn't even use it because we've never gotten to the nighttime. But now that it's required during the day, we will 1000% be using this. It doesn't have flashing lights, but you can always buy those little blinky Nathan lights and attach them on the front and back. So that's another option. If you get to Key West and you forget it, there is a very limited amount of these that Runners Depot, they're the company that comes to the expo and they have some supplies. There's only maybe like 10 of these, so make sure you pick this up before you go down to Key Largo. All crew are required to wear these vests. It's kind of like something you see like a construction worker, I think. But it's an ANSI level 2 vest. And the reason for this is safety. I mean, you're running on the shoulder of the road 90% of the time. Last year, there was a awful accident in the 50K with the first heat that I was with the two lead gentlemen. So that's another mental battle that I'm probably going to be struggling with when we get back out there because I think all those memories are just going to come flooding up. But these are here to keep you safe, your crew safe. Be careful when you're crossing the road. Don't stop the traffic. Cross where you're supposed to. Only do crewing from where you're authorized to do it, and just please follow the rules. They're all there for a reason. Another important thing is bring some painter's tape if you have it, because you are required to tape these posters on the sides of your car. And then also, you have to use the tape to write out your race number on the sides of the car, front, back, side, side. Um, we just kind of did whatever the previous years, but now the number of the racer is required to be at least like 12 inches. So make sure that you're putting the number at least like a foot big enough so that the race marshals can see what the crew vehicle is associated to each runner. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you guys how to get to these rules. All right. See if I can do this right. Okay, let's see. Can you see my screen?
I still see you.
Okay, you can't see my screen?
Now,
screen. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. My phone is making a very weird buzzing sound. Okay, here we go. Okay,
yeah,
how
it's
about now?
coming up right now.
Okay, awesome. All right, so from the home page, this is the Keys 100 homepage. Up at the top here, you'll see race info. Just hit this drop down and you're going to go to rules and standards. There's also the new information about the vests that I was just speaking to right here. So please make sure you read that and then get the appropriate registrations and vests for your crew, pacers, runners. But the rules and standards are here for 2025. And like I said, there are changes. It's like a 5-page PDF. When you show up to Key Largo, you're going to get one of the booklets that has all this information as well as like what the approved stops are. Don't use previous years. You can maybe use it as a good reference. But sometimes these stops do change. So that's something important to remember. But yeah, you can kind of go through these and see all the different. Oh, this was another important thing. So headphones are not permitted. If you have shocks, which are those headphones that kind of rest on your temple, they don't actually go into your ear. Those are permitted, but they're not encouraged for use. We want everyone to be able to like hear what's going on around them and just be careful when you're running on the shoulder of the road. Like keep your head up, pay attention to what the traffic's doing, and yeah, just be careful because you can't really control what the drivers are doing, whether they're texting or, God knows what. So, all right, let's how do I get back to Okay, here we go. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Oh no. I wonder if can you still hear me okay? Can you see
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can still see you and hear you. I think your
Okay.
screen, yeah.
That's so weird. Did something weird. All right, let's see what Instagram has asked. All right. My internet is awful here. Okay. We do have some questions. What are some tips for cooling down your body? We kind of talked about that. The ice, locations to best cool yourself off, your armpit, your head, your chest. Do you have tips for the crew? Actually, yes. One thing about the keys is for the drivers, the meeting points, sometimes it's difficult for the driver to get back out on the road. So don't like lollygag in between meeting your runner because they're by the time you get to the exchange point that's approved, typically your runner is approaching. So it's a very quick exchange by the time you get on the road. Traffic is kind of slow, and then you get to your section, you're going to park where you're permitted to park, and then get your stuff ready for your crew. And by the time you've done all that, that 3-mile segment that your runner is completing, they're going to be coming up rather quick. So that's probably my biggest recommendation for the crew. What about you? Do you have any recs?
Uh, yes, I think for definitely for the crew this one, I'll say to help the to help the crew out and with the nutrition. So I always and then specific for I guess like for my personal experience
Mhm.
is kind of your crew if your crew know you what you want, right? Because so it make it a little bit quicker. Um, is have something, either a phone. I think this time I'm probably gonna carry a radio with me, to just communicate to what specific, what additional things that you kind of need, so that your crew can prep for you. But before even before that, I think every single time is I kind of pre-plan of okay, at this hour or at this thing, I would need this. I would need, eat this. I need so that they can, they know, they can pre-prep everything already. So when you get there, and especially with the key, I think difficulties of like trying to meet the runner of where they park. So that's kind of like minimize the time that your crew, so your crew can kind of gather everything you need in one place, and then do a quick exchange and take care of you before you go out. So I think that's kind of like depend on the crew. I think if to make sure they kind of know you, know what you need, know your routine, know your nutrition. That's important, right? And that's kind of help you out.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen your like breakdown of stuff. It's very like planned out, but then sometimes, like, yeah, you do need something additional or extra or different depending on, what your needs are at the time. What are both of your goals? Um, I mean, we did talk about having like an A goal, a B goal, and I guess of course the goal is always to finish, right? What's your main goal for this year?
So for me, and especially, I mean, even though it's a flat course, but it's a difficult because of the heat. So definitely, I want to be able to run it like under 24 hours, right? So hopefully finish under 24 hours. So that. And well, all any goal is to finish, no matter what, right?
Yes.
Because that's kind of the first one is to finish. And then and of course because it's just like 100. I go into a race, and I always tell people, it's like it's so hard to say, because there's so many factors that could go wrong within the race, because it's like 24 hours. You don't know how like your body react, right, and everything else.
Yeah.
And then how if something that doesn't agree with with your digestive system, and you have like GI issues, and that could put you out, or the heat, it's just so much. But of course you can plan and train as much as possible. So the goal, the first one is just like always going to finish, and then ideally if I'm finished like within 24 hours, that'd be great. If I can take it down like 20, 23, 22, that'd be like really awesome. So that's kind of like my different level of goal,
Your
right?
tier.
So yeah, so like, okay, finish 24, that'd be great, because you always want to like 100 mile under 24 hours. And then if like if you can cut that down a little bit more, that'd be
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh man, I think for me, like I really only have two goals this year. It's I mean, actually, I guess I could say, yeah, we could break down into three. Like, obviously, I want to get first place again, just because that would make 3 years in a row, and the trophies are so cool. I actually brought it to show you because they're freaking amazing. And last year they ran out of conch, so mine's actually a nightlight, which it's not supposed to be a nightlight, but yeah, you get this really awesome conch on a plaque. But the whole reason I came back was to get three in a row. Like I want that triple win. But I know the competition this year is going to be really tight. Like I kind of stalked up the people who registered, and I know what the competition is, and it's like to the T. It's going to be really tough for me. So anything could happen, anything could go wrong. Like, some people haven't experienced the keys or haven't been to this race, so it's really anybody's game. So I'd love to get also just podium top three. And then if that's not the case, since this is my last year, and I know that because there are other goals that I want to chase. Like, I'm kind of chasing this Barkley dream right now. So I need to kind of focus on other things, mountain training, being cold, because I'm very much a hot runner. And the cold is kind of something that I don't do well with. Um, so yeah, if it's not A or B, then I'm just gonna have fun with it because I've got my coach going, his wife and his daughter, my buddy John, you guys are gonna be there. So my last goal is just to finish and have a good time and like soak up that last keys race. So I think those are my three. Uh what kind of vest does the pacer wear? Okay, we kind of talked about that. Pacers don't need this big bulky one. They just need something that's more like this guy. Do you guys already have pacers? Lone, do you have a pacer? Is
Uh,
someone
I
coming to pace?
I don't have a pacer, so just me and Justin. So he crewing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still looking for one, or you kind of want to do this like on your own?
I mean, like I'm welcoming one, so it's just it's really depends. So, but yeah. So as of right now, I don't have a pacer. So I mean,
Okay.
definitely having a pacer in any race would be helpful. So
I know the company is like, God, so much appreciated. Um, I do have one, and it's hilarious because I kept telling John, our buddy John, that he just needed to sign up for the 50K and win it because he's badass. But he persisted on pacing me, so I'm very grateful. He plans to do the whole thing. So I guess probably him and Chris will fight over some pacing duties there at the end, but yeah, it'll be cool to have both of them. Uh, what is the course like? We kind of talked about that at the beginning. What is next for both of you? What's next for you, Lum?
yeah. So after the key, I'll definitely shift back into a few months of trainings, to go to Bulldog. Oh, now the name changed, Hood and Bulldog Ultra. So we'll ship into the
Okay.
track race. I'll have a
Mhm.
couple shorter races in the summer, but that those are training races. Just so that it's leading to the track race at the in the fall.
Are you doing the 24 or 48? Have you decided?
So I actually switched to the 48.
Okay.
But the strategy will be a little bit different because I'm still trying to get that 24 hours split. Because
Hmm.
it's just like we discussed. I think I'm doing the 48, but I probably the usually I'm very conservative, at the beginning, especially long race. But this time, I'll definitely the pacing will follow the plan of the 24 hours, and then I'll trying to see I'll get that split, and then after that I'll probably just chill, and then see where my body take me for the next 24 when I really exhausted myself. So it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, because Justin say he want to hang out a little bit. So I was like, all right, we'll go do the 48 because after I confirm with Amy and my Milton that I can get that 24 hours split. So yep.
Nice. Oh, that's so incredible. I know I'm very excited because I really only have two other races on my calendar also. I've got one a 50 miler. So it's the Silver Rush 50. It's a qualifier for Leadville. I think if you win, you get automatic entry to Leadville 100. Um, I kind of just want to go and get the mountain training and be like, I think it's top 20, you get a coin, which is also guaranteed entry or some type of qualifier for Leadville 100. But right after that, I've applied for Berkeley Fall Classic, but I have not been accepted. So we'll see. I didn't get my invitation until about June last year. Oh, we have a guest. Hi, baby. Um, but yeah, I'm really hoping I do get the Barkley Fall Classic because again, that's kind of my A thing. And then I'm saving my legs. That's why I don't want to go all out on the Silver Rush 50 because Barkley Fall Classic is also very intense mountain wise. And then I also don't want to hurt myself. Because knowing me, John is always the one who gets lost. I'm always the one who trips and falls on my face and hurts something. Like it's just a matter of the fact. So I'm gonna be really careful in Colorado and then hopefully go for Barkley Fall Classic. And then we've got the track race, which I'll also be there, but I'm only doing the 6 hour. I just want to make that under top 10 in the US list for the 6 hour race. Yeah. See if there's any more. Wrestling, kind of best as pacer wear. Do you have crew? What are your goals? I think we've answered most of these other ones. I kind of launched this like 20 minutes before we hopped on this call, so that's kind of my apologies. But it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you. I'm so excited for the keys. And I'll let you go here because we did go a little bit over, and I just hope you guys have a good rest of your evening.
Yeah, I know. You too. Looking forward to see you at the Keys as well. So, all right, and take care.